What is going on, everyone? It is Thursday, January 25th, and you're listening to or watching another episode of the Boiler Breakdown podcast. You got Evan here, you've got Andrew here. Tanner decided to ditch us today for some work event. I don't know, something that apparently was more important than us. Nevertheless, you got us two again. I think, two of the last three episodes just been us two? Something like that?
Sounds right. I missed the IU one, so that's okay. I mean, that was a bummer to miss out on, but yeah.
How you doing tonight?
I'm good. You know, we almost hit 40 degrees today up in Wisconsin, so that's pleasant.
I think we were here in Indy. We were at 50 yesterday. I think we might have got up to 50 again today.
I saw that. It looked like that's a pretty sweet Men of Mackey shirt there, Webby.
Yeah. Saw this in my closet today. I was like, oh, I haven't worn this from the shop in a while, so I busted out. I'm not even sure they're even selling anymore. So I got the exclusive.
The Hummel Men of Mackey.
But yeah, we'll be talking about, since the last time we recorded, which was last Thursday, where we recapped the Indiana game and the fun that was. Boilers have since gone 2-0 since then on Saturday, defeating the Iowa Hawkeyes by a score of 84-70, of a game that was 14 points, but really felt like a much larger victory than that. A game where Purdue Iowa definitely kind of came and kind of hung around the second half, but really couldn't really push the lead down farther than more than 9. I felt like what it felt like. Boilers just kind of kept their arm extended, took care of business in Carver Hawkeye Arena that was leaking like a sieve. They had to stop the game multiple times because of whatever stupid circus tent roof they have in an area that gets copious amounts of snow. And then Tuesday night, came home to Mackey after, what is it, 3-game road trip, something like that. And absolutely obliterated the reeling Michigan Wolverines by a score of 99-67. That game just felt sad. Not saying I felt bad for Michigan, but it was just like they're in trouble. They need a lot of help.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we can talk. You want to talk about Iowa first? Honestly,
yeah.
I'll let you go ahead. I was at an alumni event and then went to the Butler DePaul game, what resulted in the DePaul coach getting fired the next day. Who knows if he made the trip back home to Chicago, if he stayed in Indy, who knows. So I did not get to watch a whole lot of the Purdue-Iowa game, but just like you said, it looked like Purdue was up 10-15, fairly comfortable the whole game.
Mm-hmm. It was another ho-hum 30-point game for Zach Edey. What would have been his third straight 30-point game, which is just absurd. I can't. Just the numbers he's putting up is just absolutely insane. 30 points, 18 rebounds, 2 assists, 10 of 15 from the free throw line. He had 10 defensive rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds. So just another incredible performance. Lance Jones had 17, so Lance putting together really
he's playing well game. Now. Yeah,
really, really good games back to back. You saw him go 4 for 9 from 3. Fletcher Lawyer
followed up with 5 for 9 against Michigan. So 50%.
Yeah, he's shooting the rock really well. Fletcher Lawyer added 12 to that game. 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. And then you had Braden with 9, Trey with 4, Mason with 6, and then First, Heidi, and Morton all had 2 apiece. And then for Iowa, it was interesting how Iowa was going to respond, because the first time around in Mackey, Purdue kind of blew their doors off, which you knew wasn't going to be the same. Most likely it was not going to be the same result as the game at Mackey, just because obviously life on the road in the Big Ten is pretty tough. Illinois or Iowa came out, played pretty well, led by Tony Perkins, the Indiana kid, from Indianapolis. So I expected him to play pretty well. He always seems to play well against Purdue and IU, just because of, I'm sure he feels slighted by never getting a scholarship offer. He was torching Purdue. He ended up with 24 points, 0-3 from three, but he was killing us in the mid range. By far their best player. You had Peyton Sanford, who ended up 3 for 10 from 3. And then Ben Krikke was their other score in double figures with 10. He also had kind of that mid-range game going. But, Purdue just kind of did what Purdue does. And Looking at the rebounds, Purdue had 50 rebounds in total. Iowa had 24. So absolutely nice on the boards. Purdue with 11 turnovers. Nothing. And Braden had 4 of them, so that was one of his. I mean, he had 9 assists too, so I mean, still a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So again, he wasn't scoring. However, he wasn't. He was doing a lot of other things.
Just continuing the IU where he didn't shoot very well, but still had 9 assists I think against IU. So and then followed up with 10 on Michigan. So yeah, I mean,
I did not know this until I'm looking at the box score, but Purdue only had 2 players who shot free throws. Edie was 10 of 15, Lance was 5 of 6, and that was the only players who shot free throws.
That's
I did not realize that at the time I was watching it. But yeah, it was just kind of a workmanlike game for Purdue. It took care of business. I said, yeah, I mean Iowa. I mean it was a 13-point game at half. Purdue was up 47-34, and then pretty much they were even in the second half. Purdue outscored them 37-36. In the end. So yeah, I mean, I felt like Purdue had chances to kind of extend the lead a couple times, and they just couldn't hit shots. And then, but then Iowa was kind of returning the favor by not hitting shots. And then finally, towards the end, when it was getting kind of down to towards the end of the game, Lance hit a big 3, a nice step back 3. It kind of felt like the dagger. I think there was still quite a few minutes left, but it just kind of felt like that was if Iowa was going to make the run, that was it, and that put a stop to it. But yeah, it was life on the road in the Big Ten isn't easy, and so it's always nice when you can.
Yeah, I wonder what the stat was. I think right before Purdue lost at Nebraska. I think what was it in the Big Ten? Like road teams in the Big Ten were like 6 and 26 or something.
Yeah, it was like 6 for 20 or something. I think it was 6 for 20, and then that night Purdue and Indiana both lost on the road, so it was 6 for 22. But then the next night there was 2 games and both road teams won. Yep. So then it was that. But yeah,
and then since then Purdue's won
2 road games.
Yeah. And
Maryland go on the road and beat Iowa last night.
Yeah.
Or 2 nights ago. You saw Wisconsin go on the road and beat Minnesota barely.
Yeah. That was.
But yeah, I mean, it's still tough. You don't take it for granted.
For sure.
We didn't get a Fran Tech, so I was a little sad about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely got hot.
Does he get many texts at home?
I just remember last year against Michigan State where it was the infamous. He had the stare down with the ref where it was in a timeout. He literally just like walked over and stood like 5 feet from him. And they both just stared at each other for a solid 30 seconds. Pretty sure that was last year. I can't remember if that was a game that they came back and won or if Michigan State came back and won. Someone was up big and someone came back and won. I think like in overtime. But yeah, I don't know if what his technical rate is at home compared to on the road. And what is he now? I think he's now the winningest coach in Iowa basketball history, which is crazy.
He's been there for 20 years. I don't know. Probably not that long, but it seems like it.
I heard a stat. I was like, he's been there forever. So I think Robbie said on the broadcast, like he kind of came in like right when he was like when Robbie was coming into college or something like that. But I think he's only made the tournament like 6 times or something. It hasn't been a lot.
It seems like they've been better than that.
They've been pretty good recently. I mean, you had a string of.
Fun fact, assuming that Wikipedia is correct, but Fran McCaffrey and I share a birthday. Wow.
Oh, look at that.
He has been at Iowa since 2010, so not that long.
Yeah.
14 years. So
yeah, it feels like forever.
I felt like Alford was there like when we would remember, so that makes sense.
But we had a string of he had Luka Garza, and then followed it up with having the Murray twins. So that's some legit NBA talent. Even like Wieskamp was really, really good. That team that beat Purdue in the Big Ten tournament championship 2 years ago, and Purdue had Ivy and Travion and sophomore Zach Edey. I mean, they had a ton of talent, but yet they got bounced early in the tournament. So he's yet to make a Sweet 16 ever in his career.
I think what one of the Golden Black writers put out there that was like just a funny dichotomy between the Iowa basketball team and the Iowa football team. Iowa basketball scores and can't play defense, and the football team can't score.
Yeah,
dominates, winning games 9-6, 9-3. Yeah. Winning with a pick six and a missed extra point. Oh, they don't miss extra points. Their special teams are good. Never mind.
Or the pick six and a punt return, and then 80
Yeah.
yards of total offense.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah. But I say so. Purdue takes a sweep of Iowa. I mean, I never feel nervous against Iowa, but it gets going there always makes me feel a little nervous just because I mean they're an offensive team that
but didn't they
catch fire.
It was like a few years ago when Purdue was up. Purdue shot I think it was the Rick Mount. Was that the Rick Mount game when he was there at halftime? That was against Iowa. Purdue was up like 20 at halftime, and then Iowa came out pressing. Yeah, Iowa came out pressing, and Purdue beat down their leg a little bit and turned it over a bunch. And
it was also against Iowa.
As we said, Iowa doesn't play defense, but
that
was a while ago. That was 5 years ago.
I mean, Iowa pressed a little bit this game. I mean, they tried to disrupt Purdue. I mean, I think this is the biggest difference between this year and last year.
Yeah.
Handled it so much better. Didn't really get sped up too much.
I mean, just with Braden being such a good ball handler and Lance being a bigger and a really good ball handler, they honestly they break the press and score off of it whenever teams do. Like it hasn't really been an issue that I can remember. Honestly, I can't remember like a single, honestly, like a turnover almost. I'm sure I know there are, but not like where it used to be where they might turn it over like 3 out of 4 possessions when they got pressed or something.
Yeah, they lose their mind and turn it over a few times. It was what I've noticed is I feel like this year, or I feel like last year, when there was a press, Purdue would pass it, but no one would move. And then you get in the corner and get in trouble. Yeah. But then this year it seems like, Braden passes to Lance and he goes. Yeah. He passes even to Lawyer and he goes, or Morton
Fletcher,
goes.
That's the one time I do kind of hold my breath. Like they give it to Lawyer in the corner and I'm like, dear God, like give it back to Braden. And then Braden just goes up the middle and then they hit Morton or they hit Lance at the half court line or something and go. Yeah. But it's been relatively stress-free when Purdue's been pressed though.
Yeah, which has been nice. So nothing really, I mean, looking at that game, actually both teams were pretty even in points in the paint. Purdue had 36, they had 34. Purdue had 18 second chance points, which was huge compared to Iowa's 6.
That's what it should be every game when you've got Zach Edey and Trey Kaufman-Renn and Mason Gillis just playing harder than everybody else, plus just being
Purdue had 0 fast break points. I think it's interesting. I mean, Purdue shot 9 of 26 from 3, 34.6%. So not the best they've shot in recent games. Iowa shot 5 of 17, so 29%. Purdue actually shot worse from the field, 30 of 67. They were for 44.8%. And they were 27 for 59, 45.8%. 15 and 21 from the free throw line, 71%. So right around where you want to be. Iowa was 11 of 16 for about 68.8%.
Yep. Like you said, kind of a ho-hum, nothing special, but still 14-point road win.
Yeah, in the Big Ten. And then they came home Tuesday night for a late one. I think it's the last 9 o'clock tip of the season, thankfully, because that was a late game. Some dicey weather.
How many Peacock games left are there?
That's a good question. I mean, that's our 3rd in a row on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I know.
It was
hold on. It's on ESPN, actually. Oh. Unless there are a few that don't say.
Yeah, it could.
The Rutgers is Fox, Northwestern BTN, CBS. So there's several. I thought there were 6 that I remember they said 6 or 7 that were going to be on Peacock at the beginning of the year.
Anyway. I think the Indiana home game, I think that's a Fox game. I think it was just the one at Bloomington was
That's what I thought too. I thought it was just the one on the road.
Yeah. So Purdue return home to face Michigan, a team that has just been just an interesting.
Yeah.
They've been interesting all year. I mean, obviously, you start out with Juwan Howard not coaching the first part of the year because of health issues. He had surgery. I think it was heart surgery.
I think heart surgery.
Yes, heart surgery. So he was away from the team, but then he was back on the bench, but not coaching, which that really confused me. Because it was like, I mean, if you don't want to be away, if you need to be away for heart, obviously you had heart surgery, so you don't want to be.
Yeah.
Causing stress. I feel like sitting on the bench is a good way to not.
Who knows? Maybe it was a minor,
yeah,
not actual heart surgery that you think of, like, oh, he's gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah,
something. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't that. I don't know.
Yeah, so you had Phil Martelli coaching the start of the year.
But that which he's better. Like, isn't he a better coach anyway?
They were pretty good when he was coaching.
Yeah.
Not at least they were decent to start the year. And then Juwan came back. Things kind of fell off. Then there was the whole playing at the Palestra and choosing to give the reins to Phil Martelli just randomly all of a sudden to have him coach. That was a little bizarre. And then you had the Doug McDaniel, this whole thing where he came out and just said, self-suspension, essentially saying, hey, I'm not going to be playing the next like six road games.
Playing at home.
Yeah. So that was bizarre.
And you missed in the fight when Juwan Howard supposedly got into a fight with the strength coach.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He got in a fight with the strength coach, who I don't think has come back to the program yet. I don't know. Maybe which I forgot. I mentioned at the top that if you're watching us live, you're noticing a new logo on our screen. We're now officially part of the Big Ten Banter. Or Big Banter family. We're excited to be a part of it. So we're going to be one of many Big Ten affiliate podcasts going out there. So we're excited to kind of get to know some of our other fellow podcast brethren across the Big Ten landscape and have some fun discussions on why everyone else's teams suck and ours is better.
Yeah, make some
friends. Looking forward to it. Yeah, make some
especially
friends.
Especially out east, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe our Michigan friends can let us know what's going on with Doug and that whole situation. But there was a whole fight with the strength coach, so there was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Michigan came in. I hadn't watched a ton of them. I'd watched the game against Indiana. They were not impressive at all in that game. There was like 50 people in at that arena that night. But Purdue kind of came out, and then actually Michigan kind of was kind of hanging on for a little bit, and then I think they got it down. Purdue was up double digits, was up like 16 or something, and then all of a sudden, like Michigan got it down to what felt like 10, like pretty quickly. And then what felt like in the span of about 16 seconds, Purdue was all of a sudden up like 18, and then just kind of coasted from there. It's just weird.
There was a stretch where both teams missed, like neither team scored for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like the teams were a combined like 2 for 22 or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no one can make a layup. We had multiple bunnies just missed. Zach was missing shorts. He didn't score for the first 12 minutes.
That's what I thought. Reed, I think Terrence Reed, who was guarding him. I thought he did pretty well. Yeah, I thought he did pretty well against Edey. Honestly,
he's big.
I mean, the best discipline he's done in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, he's big and he's tall and he's got some girth to him, so he can definitely.
He actually was like moving Edey a little bit.
Yeah, and he can move pretty well himself for a big man. Big player for them was Jalen Llewellyn, who was close to being a one-time Purdue commit, I think, before going to Princeton.
Was that Carson's year? Was that like Carson Edwards? Was that class?
I feel like it can't be that because he'd be too old.
Carson's,
for that. Yeah. Gosh, was that like maybe 2020? I'm not 100% sure.
I thought it was a while ago because he tore his ACL last year, so he sat out.
This is his second year at Michigan, yeah. But he played really well. He was 3 of 6 from 3. He kind of went on a little heater himself and kind of was keeping them in it. Terrence Williams had 10. George Washington III, great name. He had 10. And then I had a bunch of other guys just kind of getting 7, 7, 6. But yeah, Purdue just late in the first half just kind of asserted their dominance and it didn't look back. Lance Jones, player of the game for sure, like you mentioned earlier, 5 of 9 from 3, 7 of 16 from the field for a total of 24 points, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. Zach Edey, a pedestrian, 16 and 10.
He got it. Do you think Painter knows about the double streak or anything? Or whatever? Because he literally got his 10th rebound and then came out. I don't think he played the rest of the game.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm always worried about his double-figure scoring records. I think he's about ready to pass Mount.
Is it like 60-some games or something now?
Something like that. Yeah, I think he's getting close to passing Rick Mount for double-digit scoring games. Purdue kind of got a little bit from everybody. Braden was back in double figures. He had a double-double, really close to a triple-double, 11 and 10. He had 10 assists, 7 rebounds. Only 2 turnovers, which is awesome. So a 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, which is just incredible. Purdue's passing was just awesome this game. Trey Coffin added 7. He's playing really, really well. I just feel like he's like just from like beginning of the year to now, he's playing so much better. I feel like he's playing with a little bit of an attitude. I mean, you really saw in the Illinois game a few weeks ago. His just assertiveness and getting rebounds. But I thought he played really well, especially coming off kind of a scary injury at the end of the Iowa game where he kind of looked like he got pulled down, and I thought his ankle just straight up snapped, but he kind of bounced right back, and thank goodness, because he played really well. Lawyer added 7, 2 of 7 from the field, not great. 2 of 3 from 3. He's shooting the ball incredibly well from 3 in Big Ten play. Only 1 from 3 from the line. That's one thing. Really, probably the only complaint I had from this game was the free throws. 17 to 26 for 65%. I mean, Zach was.
They shot a higher 3-point percentage than free throw percentage.
Yeah, 14 to 21, 66.5 or 66.7%. So we hit exactly 2/3 of our 3-pointers, which was incredible. Most of that thanks to Lance.
I mean, Colvin came in the last 10 minutes.
Colvin came from 3 for 3. Mason was 1 for 1. Ethan was 1 for 1. Carson Barrett was 1 for 1. No one who missed.
Honestly, I went to bed, I think, when Purdue was up 30 with like 4 minutes to go. I think I saw Colvin maybe a second 3. So I had no idea actually that Carson Barrett hit a 3.
Yeah, I think he got to 99. And then Purdue had the ball in the final like 30 seconds where the shot clock was going down, and we took a shot. I think we missed it, and then we got the rebound, so that reset the clock. And then by that point, the shot clock was off.
Yeah,
and Painter told him to back it out, and the whole crowd was booing him. The game. Actually, no. The 99 point was Brian Waddell's posterization of the entire state of Michigan. That was pretty awesome. Really the big thing in this game was the entire first half Purdue went without a turnover, which I don't remember the last time that happened.
They played they went like 20. They didn't have a turnover for a while. It was like 25 plus minutes. It was just
inside the 12-minute mark of the second half, and Braden threw it into the backcourt. We got a backcourt violation. So that was pretty incredible. And obviously, again, it just goes to show that if Purdue can take care of the ball and just shoot at a decent clip, they're gonna more often. I mean, they're gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, also they're not gonna shoot 67%.
No.
But they are shooting like
45%
from 3.
If they shoot 30, 38, 40% from 3, they're still gonna win by 18.
But then also, if they miss 3 more threes, they might get 1 or 2 of those offensive rebounds.
Exactly.
And then a Zach Edey dunk or something.
Zach had an awesome dunk in this game where he just
they call him Heidi. This was when Heidi launched too. Yeah.
Heidi should have been fouled. He was an and 1, but they didn't call it. Purdue had 40 points in the paint. They had 22. Purdue had 10.
Yeah, they only had 2. Michigan was just like chucking from like it felt like 10 minutes into the game. They just were like, I mean, Llewellyn, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I mean, he hit some crazy shots. Also, that was one of the Lance had like 2 open court steals from Llewellyn in this game.
I think he got 3 steals. I think is what it was.
But like they were like at half court as they're bringing the ball up. Like he just straight up took it. I was like, has Purdue done that in like years?
Since like Chris Kramer.
Yeah, I was like, I can't remember the last time they did it. Let alone did it twice. That someone did that.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of it's talked a lot about because of Edey getting fouled 10 times a game and getting everybody in foul trouble, but also Purdue not fouling because that's also kind of why Purdue is worst, I think, in the Big Ten in turnover margin. Like they're like -4.
Yeah.
Because they do play fairly passive aggressive. I mean, I get the strategy. Like you're not going to give them free points with the free throw line. Just keep them in front of you and don't do anything stupid. So honestly, with Lance kind of doing that 45 feet away from the basket might drive Painter nuts, but I don't know. He left it out there. Maybe not. I don't know.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was cool to see. So yeah, like you said, like Purdue kind of plays the percentages of he doesn't want to give up dunks, layups, or threes. So it's like forcing guys into long twos.
Mid-range jumpers, tough
they
shots,
hit them.
whatever.
Yeah, congrats, they're doing well. But yeah, they don't force a ton of turnovers. I feel like we've done a better job this year compared to like last year.
So I think they're just better. There's more athletic this year. I mean, Lance is
Yeah.
a lot quicker, a lot more athletic.
Yeah.
Nothing against Ethan Morton in that starting lineup last year, and then Kaufman Wren just plays so freaking hard too now.
Yeah.
And he's big. And Gillis, Gillis plays so hard too, but Kaufman Wren's a little longer and more physical.
Yeah, it was just an absolute. I mean, I even tweeted it from our account. It was like Purdue won a Big Ten game by 30+ points. Like it's just, it's Michigan too. It's like 2 years ago, this Michigan team was was it their Sweet 16 team 2 years ago? I know they missed it last year, but it's just wild that I mean, it's Michigan. It's not like it's Northwestern or Penn State. It's the biggest, arguably the biggest brand in the Big Ten.
I mean, they just won the national championship in football.
Right. Yeah. It's, across the board that they.
And you've got Juwan Howard, the legend.
He played with LeBron.
Yeah,
he played with LeBron.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just it felt like. I mean, there were times like Purdue was going on a run the first half, and I was just like, dude, call timeout. Like, the guy who we sit next to at games, he's like, call timeouts, at least like act like you like are trying to do something. I just feel like they've just like given up. You can just tell, like, you just look on Michigan players' faces, they were just done with it. But yeah, it was. I expect obviously a different. Hopefully, probably still expect Purdue to win, but when Purdue returns the trip to Michigan, which I think it's mid-February. I need to pull up the. Oh, geez, what is it?
February 25th.
Okay, so it's late.
I thought back to Michigan.
Yep. It's a Sunday CBS game. Okay, interesting. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty stress-free couple basketball games, which does not happen often, especially in the Big Ten play. I guess kind of just big picture, where are you at on this team compared to? I mean, everyone's compared to last year for obvious reasons. Obviously, they dominated early and then kind of fizzled out even before the NCAA tournament. I mean, even in the Big Ten,
it was
still managed to win, but you can see it towards the end where that team was just backing their way in.
Exactly. It felt like once the year turned from 22 to 23 last year, it was just like a lot closer games. Like everything was close. Maybe it was the Big Ten was just much more bunched up last year, and this year the Big Ten is just bad. Maybe, I don't know. Or Purdue. I think it just seems like Purdue is just a lot more steady. I mean, Edie's better. Braden Smith's a hell of a lot better. Fletcher Lawyer's better. Lance Jones is huge addition. Trey Kaufman Wren's better and getting that opportunity. Mason Gillis is still like rock solid and isn't going to be outworked. The end, I don't know. The only thing, and they haven't really, I don't know. Can you think of a game where they've been like cold for three? Like it hasn't been a game, not to bring up Farley Dickinson, but like where everybody's missing. Like Braden maybe. Like Braden and Fletcher might be off, but then Lance Jones hits 4 threes, and then Ethan Morton throws in a 3 like out of nowhere, 22% or something.
Yeah, I was about to say Nebraska, but they shot 39% from 3, so that's not even that.
What was Northwestern? Maybe I don't.
Yeah. Let's see here.
But still, Purdue. I know it was overtime, but Purdue scored 88 points.
Yeah, I mean that's probably it. I mean, Purdue shot 26.3%. So I mean. They've shot worse.
Yeah, 5 of 19. Yeah, but I mean, Lance Jones.
The big thing for that one, I mean, that game was more so turnover. I mean, 17 turnovers. It's like that's.
And Northwestern, I didn't know. Northwestern had 3. I didn't know that. Northwestern had 3 turnovers that game. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I mean, that's it right there. Is just if this Purdue team can not turn the ball over and just have an average shooting night as they are right now, like they should take care of business. Which is
it's just
awesome.
Basically you can't like if they just stick at like where they're at, like average for the Big Ten is -3.5 like turnover differential or something like that. I think I saw like 3.8 or 3.5. I don't know what it was, somewhere 3 to 4. They're gonna like you're giving that team technically like 4 more possessions, but Purdue out rebounds everyone.
Yeah,
so you're getting it back on the flip side.
And in this Michigan game I was a little annoyed. I mean. Pretty well by 32. I'm nitpicking at this one, but it did feel like don't know if it was just Purdue was just kind of like, we're up by 25, we can let it go. But like I feel like Michigan got quite a few offensive rebounds, more so than
They did.
we were used to. Actually,
I thought the same.
Yeah, we were actually tied offensive rebounds. Each team got 14 apiece.
I mean, Purdue was up like 25, and
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not gonna be overly concerned about that. But I did. You're right. They get a lot more rebounds. There's a lot more offensive rebounds given up than used to Purdue seeing.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, again, a 32-point game. It's absurd.
It was like Michigan didn't really want to go do anything inside the lane. Nothing to do with Edey or Kaufman run down there or anybody.
No. And I don't think Jawan did a press conference either. I think he like
did in the hallway or something.
He did in the hallway, with their own media. But
did he finish the season? Like, is he gonna like quit? You think, or like take a leave of absence or something? And then apparently, I don't know. Who said it in our group? Didn't they say like, and he has serious NBA interest or something?
It was no, it was I think it was their game against Ohio State, because it was MLK Day, because Gus Johnson was doing that game. And he made a comment during the game of like, oh, not sure how much longer he'll be around here, because NBA teams are like super interested in Juwan Howard's like, no, they're not. Like, no, they're not. Maybe as the bench coach, I don't know, but not as the head coaching position. I don't know. I mean, the Bucks just fired their coach, and they're second in the East.
Yeah, that's weird.
Hired Doc Rivers, who hasn't done, or has probably done the least amount with the most talent of any coach in at least the modern NBA era.
He was the coach when they won in Boston, wasn't he?
Yeah, but that was, then he went to
and then Kevin Garnett and
he won one, and then he went to LA and had Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, all those guys couldn't win. And then he went to Philly with he had Harden, he had Joel Embiid, and all those guys couldn't win.
Was he at Philly that recently?
Yep.
I thought he was in like, I wasn't head coach for a while. I don't follow the NBA hardly at all. So
yeah, same. But I kind of I feel a lot better about this Purdue team right now. I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess. I guess we'll see. I feel like February for sure is when things really started to turn last year. You could just see Fletcher and Braden hitting walls.
It just seemed like they definitely peaked clearly last year.
Yeah.
When the Phil Knight Classic, right? The PK. The PK.
Yeah, like the third week of the season.
And then it kind of came out of nowhere, and they were like blowing out Gonzaga and blowing out Duke, and like, what the heck? And then they were getting to the Big Ten, where it felt like every game was coming down to the last minute and a half. Was like, it's a 4-point game with 90 seconds left. Like,
I think going into that too is just like, again, going into last year, we were thinking just make the tournament. We had no expectation for that team, and then all of a sudden they're boom, went from, they beat Marquette, and then got into the top 25, and then went out to Portland and beat West Virginia, Gonzaga, and Duke, and all of a sudden they're top 5, top 10, and
then they dominated.
Yeah, and then
I think West Virginia might have been like the closest game.
Yeah, I think it was. And then all of a sudden, it's just, I don't know if maybe, who knows? I'm not a sports psychologist. I wonder if just like all of that, all of a sudden, it's just like they went from, being nobody, the hunter, until all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, we are the hunted, and not knowing it. And every game was just, like a pressure cooker, especially when they got to number one. Every loss resulted in a court storm. And just like not knowing how to handle success like that with such a young team. Or especially such a young backcourt. But I just feel like this team feels so much different right now. Hopefully it continues into February. We'll see. But I meant to pull it up, but there's a stat of like 3-point shooting percentage from last year to this year. And Purdue has more makes on less attempts already. So that's good, because they're shooting the hell of the ball right now, it feels like. And I feel like every time Fletcher shoots it, I feel like it's going in, because it's more often than not it is. I think he's shooting over 50% in Big Ten play, which is just absolutely bananas. But up next for Purdue is kind of their own little house of horrors. On Sunday, they travel to Piscataway, New Jersey, to face those pesky Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Probably I guess Michigan had won going into this game. Michigan had won like 7 out of 10 against Purdue, so I guess you could say Juwan kind of had Painter's number. Obviously, Woody last year swept Purdue, but I feel like Steve Peichel has probably been the one coach, who's at least been around a while, who is really given Painter fits.
Outside of like Izzo, even though Purdue's done fairly well against Michigan State in recent memory, it seems like. But
I mean, obviously, you could most probably the last 2 years, because obviously there was the first time Purdue got to number one, and Ron Harper did a Euro step half quarter to win, and then last year they came to Mackey on New Year's Day, and Cam Spencer drills a three with a few seconds left.
Oh my God, Cam now Spencer's been at UConn for
But I mean, this Rutgers team is not last year's Rutgers team. They have really struggled. I mean, they're 10-8 on the year. They really struggle to score points. This month they lost to Ohio State. They lost to Iowa. They did their first Big Ten was against Indiana. They lost at Michigan State. They beat Nebraska in overtime, which Nebraska blew that game. And then they, as of last Sunday, man, they get a whole week off.
Same thing. Like I texted you, IU has like 8 days off.
Yeah, Rutgers.
IU played Friday last week, and now they play Saturday.
Yeah, Rutgers went to Champaign last Sunday in the Terrence Shannon game and got blown out by 23.
On the road. So that's what I was looking at. Like you said, the road in the Big Ten. They've gotten blown out on the road. Outside, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. They lost by 18 at Michigan State, and then lost by 23 at Illinois the last couple of weeks.
I think
at home for this one.
But I mean, they got Clifford Morey, who's been a really great big in the Big Ten. Probably been one of the more underrated ones, just because you've had Zach Edey, you've had Trace Jackson Davis, you've had Hunter Dickinson in the league, where Clifford Morey is just a really good athletic big man, 6'11". I remember a couple years ago, he put Edey on an absolute poster. He dunked on Edey, and Edey fell down at Mackey. So you got to watch out for him. But they don't have a Cam Spencer. They don't have a Geo Baker. Was it Derek Simpson or something like that? No, he's still on the team. Crap.
I'm looking at. I don't even know who's their leading. Is Andre Hyatt their leading scorer? I don't know who he is. No, did he transfer? I have no idea. Was he there last year?
I don't know who this guy is. I feel like he was there last year. He's a fifth-year guy. Looks like.
So he started a grad transfer.
Yeah, he started. He played 2 years at LSU, and this is his third year at Rutgers. Okay. But I mean, like they don't score. They don't score a lot of points. I mean, they're when you look at Ken Palm, like they're like top 20 in defense, but they're like in the 230th area in offense.
It's like one of the biggest differentials as far as offense and defense in Ken Palm history up there. I think.
So I think as long as Purdue can not turn the ball over, and just kind of play their game, I mean, Purdue shouldn't have an issue on Sunday. I would hope. Of course, there's always the chance that it's a tough place to play. Those people are rowdy out there. There always is a chance that they go thermonuclear from three when they haven't shot well at all year.
Yeah, let's see. I don't even know. Yeah,
I
don't know.
There's one guy who's shooting 38.5%, but I don't know. I mean, he's averaging 5 points a game, so I'm not sure how volume that is.
I think, like you said, as long as Purdue doesn't have massive turnover fits, I think it's a fairly comfortable win.
Yeah. Score prediction, MVP.
I was looking at it. I was like, I wonder if there's a line, what the line would be. I think I gotta think Purdue's gonna be favored by like 9. I would say like 8.5. I don't know. So I'm gonna say the final. I'm gonna say 78-69. No, 78-66. I think Purdue's gonna win by double digits.
I say one of our friends said the first one, if you can get to like 60, you probably have a good shot of winning at Rutgers. I'm gonna go 72-58. I think Purdue. Again, it's kind of like Iowa, where it's like, they're kind of hanging around, but Purdue just kind of keeps them at arm's length and then kind of, buries them at the very end.
They scored 87 against Nebraska, but
in overtime, yeah.
Okay, there's overtime. Okay, I'm just looking at their schedule. Yeah, 55 against Michigan State, 57 against IU, 77 Iowa, 72.
It was an absolute rock fight. Like it was
They
so
beat
hard.
they beat Stony Hill 59-58.
Jeez, they lost to Princeton to start the year. They've
Stony
lost
Hill.
to.
When I just said it, Stony Hill is 2-13.
They've gotten swept by Illinois. They lost to Wake Forest, who's a pretty good team.
Sorry, never mind. That was 2-13 at home. I guess they are 2-20.
Yikes! Yikes! Yeah, hopefully, I mean, get your licks in now in Rutgers because they got 2 5-stars coming next year, which could be interesting. So we'll take it now. Yeah. And then probably before we record our next show, Purdue travels, or I know they come home for a revenge game against the Northwestern Wildcats, who just had a big win last night over their in-state rival Illinois. Purdue looking for some payback after obviously being knocked off there earlier this season.
I think Purdue wins by 20 against Northwestern. I
hope so.
Like watching them, like when they got down to that game, because I looked at that, Purdue shot 40 free throws because they were fouling out.
Yeah.
Like they had there was a guy that I don't know if he made one. He might have gone like 1 for 4 from the free throw line. He's an 18% free throw shooter or something. Like on 10, like he hadn't shot many, but it was like 8 or something. Yeah. It's like, he's 2 for 9 right now. Like I don't know. I just think if Boo Booey doesn't, I think Lance Jones takes that personally, and Lance Jones shuts down Boo Booey and doesn't get in foul trouble, and Purdue wins handily.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I feel like
they better at least. I mean,
the team will be pissed off. Yeah, I think the crowd. I mean, the crowd will definitely be in it because. I mean,
Chris Collins is a clown. I can't stand Chris Collins. Oh my god! I mean,
I
hope Painter scores 100. I hope they hit 100 on Chris Collins.
We've seen Purdue lose twice at Northwestern in back-to-back years, so hopefully the paint crew and company bring it. 6:30 game if you're on the Eastern time zone on Big Ten Network on Wednesday. So what's your score prediction
for that one, Northwestern? 88-68. I think Purdue wins by 20.
I was gonna say 86-69, so we were really close. Yeah. I think Edey gets another 30-15 game.
Yeah,
one.
I think he might go for 40. I think if Painter lets him, I think he's just gonna take over. Yeah, bold prediction for the Rutgers game. Did you say one or who MVP you asked?
I haven't said mine yet. I'm gonna go Fletcher Lawyer. I'm gonna say Lawyer for that game.
I was gonna say Braden Smith. I think Braden Smith's gonna. He should have had a triple double. I mean, he didn't play. He
should have triple double like 3 times this year.
Yeah.
He's gotten close. Painter took him out with plenty of time, which he needed because he played. Looking at the minutes, he played at Iowa. You could kind of tell that guys were just getting tired at both ends because everybody started missing shots towards the end. But Braden played 39 minutes that game, so he was tired. Same with the Iowa guys. You can tell everybody was missing shots towards the end. Those are the last 2 games of the month of January. Hopefully Purdue can round it up because then that would mean Purdue went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-1 on the year if they can close out these next 2 games with W's, which would be pretty good for the month of January. Then in February you got at Wisconsin, home against Indiana, home against Minnesota, at Ohio State, home against Rutgers, at Michigan. I thought January was going to be a pretty tough stretch compared to February. Obviously now things have changed with Wisconsin being pretty good. Don't really know about Ohio State, but I like those other home games before closing out March is by far the toughest with Michigan State at Illinois and home against Wisconsin. But looking at January, February, I thought if we can get through January pretty well, set ourselves up pretty well. Because as of right now, no Big Ten games tonight. Wisconsin is technically in the lead by half a game. They're 7-1 in the conference. Purdue is 7-2. They have the 1-loss lead over Illinois, Northwestern, and then Nebraska has got 5-4, and then you've got everybody either with 4, 5, or 6 losses. Michigan bringing up the rear at 2-6. Rutgers is 2-5. So it's just kind of things are starting to take shape. I think Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois. Wisconsin, Illinois, you won it, 2A, 2B, depending on the day. They're definitely the second best teams in the conference. Michigan State's kind of maybe are they coming on? You look at Maryland, or are they coming on? They won at Iowa last night, so you wonder if they can string some stuff together. Northwestern's been pretty solid. Maybe Nebraska can keep doing things if they can keep shooting the way they did. You had Mask go for 30 something the other night, but otherwise just a whole lot of just kind of
Yeah. It's pretty clear, like you said. Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois, pretty clear top.
There's some other Big Ten games coming up this year. So we had none tonight. Friday night
which
game.
was weird. There was no Big East or Big Ten games.
There's two nights, or I guess if you count tomorrow, that's 3. But that's a Big Ten basketball. But tomorrow night on Friday at 8:00 Eastern on FS1, you've got the Michigan State Spartans traveling to Madison to take on Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin's 2.5-point favorite.
2.5. Wow. It would help Purdue if Michigan State wins, but I can't root for Izzo, and I don't think it's going to matter because I think Purdue just takes care of business against Wisconsin and everything's fine.
Yeah. Yep. I think Wisconsin wins. I think it's a single-digit game, but I think it's more like 6 or 7.
That's a race to 60 there, right? They just beat Minnesota. Wasn't the final Minnesota like 61 to 59 or something? That was the final.
Tuesday, that was 61-59.
61-59, yeah.
Yep. Saturday, you got a full slate of games at noon on BTN. Nebraska at Maryland. I'm going to take Maryland just because they're home.
Home team. Illinois, IU. Illinois is going to win.
This could be ugly.
5. Yeah.
You look at IU's had a week off to prepare. Supposedly, what he says that they've had some tough practices. We'll see. But they're going on the road, which they've struggled on the road. And they're playing Illinois team who just got beat on the road against their in-state rival Northwestern, so they're probably pretty pissed off. And just you see, Illinois and Indiana fans don't like each other anyways, so this could probably get pretty. I think I think Illinois wins by 15 plus. Iowa at Michigan. Iowa's lost 2 straight after winning 3 straight, or 3 or 4, something like that before the Purdue game. But now they've lost 2 in a row. Traveled to Michigan Saturday at 5:00 on Fox Sports 1. I think I'm gonna take Iowa now. I just missed the Michigan team is something else.
Well, Doug, you get Doug back.
You do get Doug. Yes, that's true.
I don't know. I don't really care. Couldn't care less about Iowa, Michigan, honestly.
This next one's
I think Iowa, but yeah, exactly. Minnesota, Penn State.
Yeah, Minnesota. I think I'm gonna take Minnesota.
Give me the home team. Honestly, in the other games, I'm thinking, oh no, that's Penn State then. It's in University Park. Yeah, I'll take Michigan and Penn State then. Be different than you, Webby.
And then the nightcap 8:30, Ohio State at Northwestern. I'm sticking with Northwestern. The big question is does the crowd show up? Because there's the only seem to show up for the big top 10 opponents. Because after they beat Purdue, they've played Chicago State, and there was about 7 people there, and I'm sure 6 of them were parents. One was the custodian. Purdue Rutgers on Sunday, Tuesday, and then we'll call it a night. Illinois at Ohio State, 7:00 Peacock on Tuesday.
I think Illinois. I think Illinois is pretty, especially with Shannon back.
They're pretty good.
I think they're
really good.
and I think it's pretty clear top 3 in Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois, and then everybody else. And I think that's pretty much those 3. I think I'd take against anybody basically.
I'm going to take Ohio State in this one just because I like their guards. I like Thornton. I like Jameson Battle kind of a wing in that. I think Illinois wins, but I'm going to pick Ohio State is wishful thinking. Iowa at Indiana. So Indiana, we're assuming Indiana will be on a 3-game skid.
Will they quit?
Yeah, it's tough because Iowa last year. Indiana last year was really good, and Iowa came in there and beat just blew the doors off them at Assembly Hall.
That was
Sanford
who
hit
blew
a
the
three
kiss?
at the end, blew a kiss, got technical. He forever endeared. Like I love him for that. Like I don't care what he does at Purdue. Like it cracked me up. I think Indiana will win that one just because again
I
they'll
think
be
I
desperate.
think outside of the top three, I think you take the home team basically.
Yeah, at Michigan State, I think Michigan State blows them away.
Yeah.
Anything else? Nothing really on the football front. Not a whole lot going on with Purdue football right now.
No.
Since it's kind of, I saw Walsh at the game the other night. It was cool to see him with some of the in-state recruits that were able to make it. It was whoever wanted to brave that fog.
Did you see Ty there? I said Eugene Hilton was there. Ty.
I saw Eugene. I don't know if he was with Ty. I don't really know what Ty looked like, so it would have been hard for me to know.
Yeah, I think he's like 5'10", so it doesn't stand out.
Yeah,
I think, but
yeah, I saw a guy in a blue hoodie, but I was like, is that a guy? Would he be wearing a Colts hoodie, or it's like I think they also had a kid from Hamilton Southeastern, which they're like a royal blue color, so I didn't know if that was that or not. But yeah, they're doing good. There's not a lot of football, so basketball just keeps rolling. So yeah, hopefully we can just get 2 more dubs this week.
Yeah.
But before we go, obviously got to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Mad Mushroom for once again being a part of the Boiler Breakdown season with us. You got another week, so I guess we'll still have. And actually, this is probably the last time we'll do this ad read for this Pizza of the Month, January Pizza of the Month. Rage Against the Resolutions, and they can stop being sad about Rage Against the Machine disbanding. So last week, you get Pizza of the Month of January. It's topped with ham, deli, cup and char, pepperoni, salami, onions, Pepperdew peppers, and mozzarella cheese. Is finished with a Parmesan Romano cheese blend and an Italian aioli. If you tell them Boiler Breakdown sent you, they'll take care of you. And then also, if you order online, make sure you use the code BREAK5 for $5 off any order over $20. Mad Mushroom, feed your head. Then we're glad to have the shop back once again. I'm wearing my Men of Mackie shirt that came out with a couple of years ago. Super soft, fits really well. They've been making shirts in hometown apparel since 2011. Started out in the garage. Now they're going to have 3 locations. They've already had 2 brick and mortar locations, one in Carmel, one in the Broader area. They're now going to have one downtown Indy. Check them out. They're always coming out with new designs. They just came out with a really cool line for the All-Star game coming to Indy next month, which is going to be so much fun to have it here. I wish I could go, but tickets are outrageously expensive on the secondary market. And when they went on sale, they went super fast. But if you come down to Indy for the All-Star game, pick up a shirt. If you want to order online, make sure you use code BREAKDOWN for 25% off. If you go to theshopindy.com on your first order, they'll take care of you, whether you're a Boilermaker, Hoosier, Bulldog, Law Tiger. You got Wabash, I already said Butler. Indiana State, second best team in the state right now. And the Butler's probably Indiana State and Butler are kind of vying for that second best team in the state right now. But we're happy to have them back.
Butler's going to make the tournament. I think they'll make the tournament.
How many teams from Indiana make the tournament? How many teams from Indiana make the tournament?
2. I think
Butler,
so.
Purdue.
Yeah.
Because Indiana State's going to have to win their tournament. I'm not sure I don't know. We'll see. But thanks everybody for checking us out. So once again, we're happy to be a part of Big Banter. Big Banter family, I know they do a lot of really cool stuff, and they bring out a lot of guys from all the different podcasts together for the Big Ten Huddle, which you'll have to look out for us on that when the time comes. We've got a Discord server for everybody to kind of get together and chat for games. We're really excited to kind of see where this goes and grow our audience, and so get a chance to talk Big Ten sports with some other people who know their teams a lot better than we do, and vice versa. So look forward to showcasing Purdue. But appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Boil up, hammer down.